Welcome back, folks, to the Membership Machine Show. This is episode 46, and in this show, we're going to be discussing Kadence WP versus Divi. Which one is best to build your membership website on or community website in 2023? Both are extremely popular. One it has a lot longer presence in the WordPress space. It should be a really interesting discussion. I've got my normal Thursday co-host with me, Kurt. But we've got a new full-time host starting next week. We've got Cayman Kendrick. She is just wonderful, and she's also the marketing manager for Learn Dash and Give WP, and she knows a ton about marketing membership, just like Kurt. So, Kurt, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Absolutely. My name is Kurt Von Onen. I own an agency called Mañana No Mas. I also work directly with WP-Tonic and Lifter LMS, largely focused on membership and learning websites.
That's fantastic. And I can say we're going to be going through everything about Kadence and Divi. Should be a great show. But before we go into the meat and potatoes, I've got a couple of great messages from our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Coming back, folks, I just want to say that we've got some great special deals from the major sponsors. Plus, we got a curated list of the best WordPress plugins, so you don't have to trawl the internet if you're looking to build your membership website on WordPress. To get all these goodies, all you have to do is go over to wp-tonic.com/deals, wp-tonic.com/deals, and you'll find all the goodies there. What more could you ask for? Probably a lot more, folks, but that's all you're going to get from that page. Sorry to disappoint. Well, it's not disappointing. There's some great special offers, and that curated list will save you a load of time. So, Kurt, let's go into it. So let's do a quick intro. I chose this because obviously got the world of Gutenberg that's building traction. It's kind of, we've discussed it ourselves. It's divided at the present moment slightly between full site editing and a platform. Kadence is much more than just a plugin or a theme. It's a framework in my mind. So you can, and they have starter themes, and you can build whole websites on Kadence, and it utilizes Gutenberg, but they have put their slight own spin on it. And then we got the world of Divi that's been going for quite a while. That has been very, very popular as well. Those that are looking to build their membership website on WordPress. So what's your take on Kadence and also Divi?
Well, I got a fair amount of working with Kadence with the Lifter LMS folks, and I really liked kind of just the straightforward nature of it. Like if you're looking for a no-code example of building a good WordPress website and have lots of options for your different blocks, if you're sticking in the Gutenberg area, then it's a fantastic option. I was an Astra person for a long, long time, and many of my projects still are on Astra with Elementor. But as Kadence came out with Kadence Cloud and the options we're going to talk about today, it looks like more and more of an attractive platform.
Yeah, and I want to say Astra's a great platform, and they, for understandable reasons, with their new Gutenberg, they're still supporting Elementor. and we offer Elementor at WP-Tonic, which is fantastic. And most of these products that we talk about on the show, folks, are really fantastic. You can build your membership website. We have some preferences at WP-Tonic. I have some preferences. Kurt has some preferences, but we're not saying the other preferences are rubbish. The fantastic thing about WordPress is you've got a lot of really fantastic options. Well, do you agree with that, Kurt?
Well, and it's not just the fantastic options, Jonathan. I think we're going to find throughout the show that so many of these choices come down to use case. You know, who is the client? Who is the agency? What is the goal of the project? And when you start to break that down, you go, oh, well, this would work better for this, or this would work better for that. And we'll expose that as we go through the show.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's start with Kadence. Let's start with the beloved Kadence. I think one of its strongest elements is because it's utilizing Gutenberg and it's adding its own spin, its own library of blocks. And Gutenberg and Kadence are all about blocks, is the performance. On decent hosting, which you'll get with WP-Tonic, if you're looking to build your membership community website on, it's super fast. Would you say that?
Lightweight. That's what a lot of folks are talking about. Like when people get into the page builder battle, back and forth online, it typically is, how heavy is that product and how much does it slow down your website? And, Kadence is a fast theme and it's in the repository, right? So it's free. You can try Kadence free. You can have Kadence blocks for free. And then once you feel more comfortable, you can upgrade to the pro version.
And would you agree you get a lot with the free product?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like the duplication of the conversation we have about Lifter LMS. It's for the free version, you get a power pack platform to go out. You can build a minimal viable product with what they give you, like right out of the box. It's when you want to take it to the next level, then you might want to join the add-on game and put the pro in.
We're going to be offering Kadence at the end of this month, and we'll be offering the pro version with Elementor. So you have two fantastic choices. We're also going to be offering, which we're going to be building out over the next 6 to 7 months, a whole library of starter themes, which exclusively you get with WP-Tonic, and other elements that you can just drag onto your website if it's built on Kadence. So we're going to be offering that, but we're also going to be offering Elementor to our existing or new clients if they want to use that, because it's fantastic as well. But the great thing with Kadence is we're going to be offering the pro, but for, I would say, 70% of end users are just looking to update their website and use one of the Kadence themes. You probably can just use the free version, but the pro does also give an enormous amount of extra power as well. Like with the free version, and I've got to say, it's a difficult position because I do not want to come across as too negative to full site editing, which is if you got any experience with WordPress and you've been using Gutenberg, until full site editing come in, that it utilized a menu widget menu to build your menus, which could be placed in your header, your footer, and the customizer was utilized, and the customizers utilize a lot in Kadence. That with the new version of WordPress all got thrown out, and now everything's done in blocks. And I'm trying to find the right wording here, Kurt.
It alienates people that have experience with the old platform. It seemed to me, and I'm just spitballing, but it seemed like Blocks was still developing and they were still coming out with these cool things like Cadence blocks or Spectra for Astra, and they're like Gutenberg blocks was coming into its own, and it was becoming real usable. And then all of a sudden, full site editing came out and changed the rules, and a lot of folks that are integrated into the Gutenberg system are having a very difficult time kind of switching over. The navigation menu is one of the most confusing things with full site editing. I've had to coach multiple people through it.
Yeah, I just think it was just a bridge too far, to use the metaphor, the famous war film, A Bridge Too Far. It is just a bridge too far. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be introduced, and I'm sure at some stage in Cadence it might be introduced. But I think the interface is not coherent. There's different screens doing different things, and that needed to be worked on. And it's just confusing, in my opinion, at the present moment. And I think the Cadence system is coherent, and I've been using it quite a lot. So with the free version, folks, you get a header footer builder that's really quite easy to use, in my opinion. You have control over global colors, so you can select a menu of colors for the whole website. You have Cadence theme WordPress customizer. You can customize the theme. Free SEVG social icons. So you can have your social icons and link them, and you don't have to utilize a third-party plugin. And extra stuff. I'm just going quickly through the main stuff that you get with the free version. Is there anything major that I've missed out that you get with the free version that you think we should talk about?
The global colors to me was kind of a big deal because how do I say this? Different theme platforms have different ways of doing global colors. And the setup in Cadence is very straightforward, very intuitive, very easy to use. So I like that. Typography and being able to use Google fonts and stuff like that, baked right into the platform, like that. And I like the branding option that still comes in the free version. So you can upload your logo, your favicon, and all that in the free version, and it helps you brand your site.
What do you think? Because this is always tricky for any player in the WordPress ecosystem. What you offer with the free and what you offer with a pro version. It's a slightly different scenario than a SaaS player. Well, I say that. No, that's not true. A lot of SaaS players have the same, what do they offer with a free version and what they offer with Premier if they want to do that. So that wasn't correct. Sorry, folks. But I think with the other strong thing with Cadence, I think they've got the right balance of what they offer in the free and what they're offering in the pro. Do you agree with that?
I agree for the most part. The big thing that always differentiates a pro product for me with a free or an entry level product is the level of community and support that they might have, and that's what really drives part of my decision when I'm making a purchase decision or advising a client to go in a certain direction. I want to make sure that they're not left alone or on a lurch. So in a lot of cases, you end up having to go the pro route because you want them to have access to communities and support, in case I get hit by a bus.
Well, yeah. Then we go into the pro. The pro has a selection of add-on plugins. One of them is the header add-on. So you get a count icon, contact elements, dividers, the search bar, extra buttons, toggle, side out panel, widget area, extra HTML areas. So basically, it seems to me that the header it's just putting it on steroids. Really, you're getting a lot of extra functionality for the more power user or the pro. What do you think?
One of the features that I really like in Pro, Jonathan, and I got distracted doing the research for our Divi talk, and they were talking about maxi menus, and they have ultimate menus in Cadence, which the ultimate menu tied together with, putting the header on steroids and using hooked elements to be able to really add graphics and icons to your ultimate menu dude, you can build amazing, like commercial looking, big looking websites with these elements. And it really gives you a styling advantage that, if I was working in other page builders, would take a lot more effort to build.
It really is, isn't it? That's quite impressive, isn't it? And then on the second one, I've got Kadence element hooks.
Yeah.
Displaying location, show specific users, target placement, was it expiration on specific date, build custom 404 pages, replace header and foot. My God, this is really powerful, the hooks, aren't they?
Yeah, you can do anything in here. It's, anything that I hate to throw names under the bus or whatever, but like we talk about Elementor quite a bit. And, we've used it. We've advised it for clients. It's a great product. It really is a great product. But if you want to stay in the Gutenberg environment, Kadence has given us all the tools that typically I would use in a custom page builder like Elementor.
I think the Elementor, they're catching up in dynamic content, but normally you have to go. They've done a lot of work lately, and if you're interested in finding more about that, there's an excellent YouTube channel called WP-Tonic by Paul. He's a friend of the show and really just a great guy. And if you want to learn more about Kadence or about, and we got a ton of stuff on the WP-Tonic show, but he does great training videos as well. Shows you the basics, and he's just a great guy. So go and have a look at what he's got to offer. But normally with Elementor, the situation is fluent. They're adding a load, but if you're really into displaying dynamic content for WooCommerce and other scenarios, there are some fantastic third-party add-on plugins that work with Elementor that give you that functionality. But it's a fluent situation. Sorry to use the pun. Elementor hooks, Kadence conditional headers. Very similar, you've got account icon, contact elements, dividers. I don't know if I've duplicated this by mistake. I think I probably have actually. Build 20 new header. Yeah, it looks like I've kind of got a bit confused there. I've doubled it. Sorry about that, folks. But so let's go on. You've already touched it. The Kadence ultimate menu. Well, you kind of covered that a little bit, didn't you? You naughty man. But I forgive you. But I think what you're saying is that I got the strong impression that you were blown away with this particular add-on.
It's I don't know how to say this without making myself sound like less of a web implementer, Jonathan. If you go to Adobe's website and you click on a menu item, some of those menus have normal drop-down menus, like most of the websites I have built. And then you click on one of them and it just blows into this giant like icons and sections and links, and it takes up, a third of the page. That's an ultimate menu where it gives you, and you think about how that reduces your bounce rate. It causes people to discover more things in your site. If you're a heavy content producer, having one of those ultimate menus really helps you divide your categories out or your icons or whatever. And so you start looking at different large corporations and you start looking at their websites and you go, oh, they have it. So it's almost a best practice at this point. And then you start thinking, well, how do I build that? And if you look at other page builders, you start going, oh, that's going to take some work. That's going to take some time. And then you look at this Kadence offering and it's like, click, the thing you're talking about where you put the elements anywhere that you want in the hooked elements. When you activate that hooked elements, you can start dropping things into that menu that just format and look great right out of the box.
There are some third-party plugins that offer that, but you get it with Kadence Pro, and it works really. And a lot of the other solutions are not as flexible as this. It's just amazing what you can build. On to the next WooCommerce add-on. Auto opens sidecar. That's fantastic. Custom shop page built with blocks and page builder. Shop toggle widget area. Ajax add to cart. Simple product page. It's just delicious what they're offering here. I'm trying to expand my vocabulary. Delicious.
Absolutely delicious.
Yes, delicious. What do you reckon? I was really blown away with this.
Well, there's the developer side of the platform, and then there's the user experience side of the platform. So not only did they take care of us as implementers and give us a product that we can build cool things on, but it's like they went the other side of the table and said, well, how can we make the user experience have less friction? And this is a almost friction-free experience for the end user when they're purchasing in an e-commerce environment. So it works really well.
Yeah, just you can build a modern experience, one-page shopping cart, just with Kadence. Basically, you don't have to use a third-party product, and some of this advanced WooCommerce. The reality, one of the great things with Lifter is that you can get going, and it's got a great shopping engine inbuilt with it that works really. We got clients that got thousands of people that have bought their membership website utilizing native Lifter LMS solution. But if you want to do advanced things like bump up products, down products, marketing automation to a high degree using something really fantastic like Fluent CRM, which we love and we provide as part of WP-Tonic's web hosting package, you're going to have to use WooCommerce as your central engine. And we also provide some solutions that give that modern, but with this, you don't even need some of those solutions. Just mind-boggling what they're doing here. I just love it. So on we go. Kadence sticky header footers, header scripts, after opening body script, footer scripts. Scripts are like little codes that trigger certain things. If you're more advanced and you know how to copy and paste code, it's pretty mind-boggling what this can do, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just add interactivity to your normal static pages.
So we're just giving you a quick layout of what you get with the Pro, and I think you get a load of functionality with the free version. If you're intermediate and if you're building your first membership website, you probably don't need a lot of this Pro stuff. I say that, but if you really want a really nice looking website, you probably will want this, and you do get it with WP-Tonic, but but the problem is, we've said it before, a lot of people get stuck in the production, and it's really important to get your first viable product, your first viable membership website, your first reasonably good looking website, and get your first batch of students in, learn what they're really looking for, and then from what you've learned, then build out your sections of your website, the unique experience that you want to provide. And the great thing with Kadence is you've got something that you can utilize to get you going reasonably quickly, and then you've still got the flexibility. You're not restricted by a SaaS solution, folks. So you're getting the best of both worlds. And I think that's one of the great strengths of Kadence is the interface. I think they've done. It's different, but it's definitely got similarities to Elementor. It's not quite, but it's got. I had scratched my head a little bit at the beginning, but as soon as I got stuck in, I thought, yeah, it's not too different how it works. Or do you think I'm totally wrong there?
Well, for me, Jonathan, it's actually a different world, especially considering the theme of this show. Like when I look at Divi, I think Divi's a lot like Elementor, right? All my elements are on the left side of the screen. My stage is in the right side of the screen. But when you're working in Gutenberg and you're using products like Kadence or Astra, it's at first it used to bother me that it wasn't a what you see is what you get environment, right? Because you almost want to have a preview window open in another screen to keep refreshing.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're totally right to point that out. I think more like the interface. That is the only thing, isn't it? Yeah, you're spot on.
And what I really like about Kadence, if we're going to just get right into that experience from the usage side, is to your point, it is easy. So you go into appearance, Kadence has its own menu in there. You click on that, the settings pop up, and you're literally going toggle this on, toggle this on, toggle this on. And they grouped their features into more like groups where I turn something on and it's simple. Whereas, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit about Divi. Divi is much more finite in their setting selections. And you kind of have to really know what stuff is when you turn it on or off. I mean, I end up helping clients because they turn features off and then they say their website's not working, right? But it's just because they've turned something off and didn't know what it was.
Well, let's go on pricing. Like we were saying with Kadence, basic is free, and there's nothing really that basic about it. Want to just point that out because naming conventions are always a nightmare when you're selling products anyway. Then you got the essential bundle for $149, and then you got the full bundle at $219. You can get these when you're buying for the first time. You can get these at slightly reduced prices. I don't know. This is me. If I wasn't satisfied with what the free, I think I'd just go with the full bundle. Just cough up the 100. I think they're offering it at 199, but then it goes up to 219. So it's not ridiculous, is it? I just go for the full bundle. What would you do?
It is whenever it comes to pricing, Jonathan, I think I'm the one on the show that has I'm the cheap guy. I'm the frugal guy. When I look at the pricing, the $7.99 actually kind of scares me away, especially if I'm a customer with one site.
That's
so the full
I think I've left one price out. I think I've let's have a look at this. Is that oh no, I've got them right. Yeah. Unlimited website. Is this the pro? Yeah. And then you got the free and the full. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, it's okay. When I look at it and say the full bundle, in my mind, I immediately go to, well, what am I paying for Elementor already? You know, and Elementor is $200 a year. So if you have 25 sites or less, right? So it's in the same price range. That's good. I'm a lifetime. I'm a fool for a lifetime deal. Right?
You're going to have to wane yourself off this implementer, developer, multiple site individual. We're focused at the individual DIY. Yeah. So I think if you just got your one website, it's.
I'd go for the $219.
I go for the $219. They do a lifetime deal. And that's almost 800, but that's really focused at the professional. Somebody like Kurt. We offer as part of WP-Tonic. We're going to be offering the full pro version to you, fully licensed, and that's going to be part of the hosting bundle. So let's go for the pros and cons. Let's finish this off quickly. Like I say, the pros: extremely fast performance, tons of customization options, lightweight SEO-friendly code. It is like WordPress in general. It's very SEO-friendly, very easy to use for beginners. That's controversial. I think if you're not used to Elementor, it's going to be interesting at the end of the show about if you're a total beginner, are you going to find Kadence or Divi more easier to use? Because one of the strengths of Divi, it's very visual in some ways. So that'd be interesting. Dedicated Gutenberg blocks, extra WooCommerce options, and excellent support. I think the support's really good. They've got a word. So would you agree with that list? And got any comment about it?
I always try to think of things from an absolute beginner. I always think about what happens when you hand a 3-year-old an iPhone or a tablet or something, and how quickly they acclimate.
You mean handling it to me, don't you?
I think, and looking at this, objectively through like brand new eyes, I think the Kadence setup is incredibly intuitive for a new person. There's always a learning curve with anything technical, but I think the system, for all the power that it packs in, it's incredibly intuitive the way they've laid it out.
I think you're spot on there. I think you really is for what you're getting for the amount of because I've used other systems that are really powerful, but my God, they're good. They're dog's breath to utilize, because if you stop using it for a week, you're lost, if you know what I mean. But for what they've bundled in, the amount of options and power, this is freaking amazing what they've developed here. Really, Ben and his team. Ben is the lead developer at Kadence. It's just freaking amazing, really. Cons. Bundle may be too pricey for some. I think this is one of the real strong strengths of Divi is their pricing strategy. It's just amazing value, Divi, for a certain type of user. And like I say, the founder of Divi and the team at Divi, they laser understand their end user base so well, and they've really given them what they wanted so effectively, and you can't take that away from the Divi founder and his team. Document, and the other thing is the documentation is a little bit sparse, to some extent. Would you agree with that criticism?
Unfortunately, I do completely agree with that criticism. I've gotten spoiled by some really good providers in the WordPress space. There are a few plugin providers and theme providers that have really gone the extra with information support and making things easy to find. And I find that sometimes in Kadence, when I come up to that little brick wall or that obstacle, it takes me a little bit of time to try and figure out who's done this before, where can I find it? I find myself searching YouTube for stuff instead of their documents. And to me, I wish it was just a little more complete or a little more descriptive.
But I'm a member of the Lifter LMS Infinity and Universal Power Group. They do Lifter do some fantastic support, which you buy one of their paid products. And I think they've expanded their access lately to all. It used to be you had to pay for the top tier of Lifter, but now they've expanded it, and it's just a fantastic. You just can log in to Zoom once a week, and you can ask any question you like, and it's just fantastic. But there was somebody there was saying it wasn't just Kadence; it was about the recent update with WordPress 6.3, and they were saying that well, I feel a bit lost, and it's full site editing and blah blah blah. So I just don't think it affects Kadence. I think it affects the whole WordPress. That's another thing, but I don't know if you agree with that.
I got to be really kind of silent about those calls because I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard. I like doing those calls.
Yeah.
But
you do a great job. But
the idea of bringing in all those other people from the Universe bundle, as opposed to just the Infinity bundle, gives us a greater breadth of perspective. You know what I mean? And we get to see what people are really doing with products and what they're really building, rather than like the elite 15 or 20 people that would call in normally. And so it's been really cool. And then to your point, now we're seeing people that are like, I can't figure out how to change my menu. I went in, I went to appearance, I went to menus, I made all the changes. I clicked, view the website. None of my changes were there. and I spend hours on this, and you hear that frustration. And that frustration is that full site editing a bridge too far that you and I have talked about before, right? You have to adjust the menu in the full site editing, edit site menu with template parts. And people get lost, man.
Yeah,
It'll take time.
I think it's fine if you're a power user, a developer, an agency, whatever you freelancer, and you're doing this on almost every day. I just think it was a bridge a bit too far for that kind of beginner intermediate user. I think Kadence covers all bridges very effectively at the present moment. My only concern with the full site and the menu is it. But other people, I think you think if you're not you've got no past experience of WordPress, that you find even the full site editing reasonably easy to learn. You think because it's people that got past experience. I think that's where we slightly disagree, because I actually think the new users that got no experience, they will find, because it's got different interfaces and they're not coherent. That's my major criticism. But I might be wrong. Your position might be totally right. I'm not saying that mine is.
There's a reason why your position is correct. A brand new user that is in a full site editing site, they're going to get a taste. They're going to get just a taste of what they could modify or customize or do, and they won't be able to go further than that little taste, right? But with Kadence and all the things we're discussing with Kadence in the Gutenberg environment, they're going to have a much more freedom to modify and change things, and it's going to come just as easily, right? So that level of ease, I think, is very similar, but you get so much more options and freedom and flexibility if you stick with the Gutenberg example rather than the full site editing example at this stage of the game and development.
Right. I think we're giving you a very extensive high view of what Kadence offers if you're going to build your membership website, your community website on using Kadence. We're going to go for our mid-break. Got a couple of messages from our sponsors, and then in the second half, we're going to do a dive into Divi, the world of Divi, and then at the end, we're just going to do a quick conclusion. Should be a great second half. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. Coming back, folks, I just want to point out, if you're looking to build your membership community website, you're going to need a great host and much more. You get all this from WP-Tonic. We love you to be part of the tribe. We offer tremendous hosting that's optimized for those that are looking to build their membership website or their community website on WordPress. Plus, we offer a suite of fully licensed plugins. Fully licensed, I want to repeat that, unlike some other solutions. And I think it's between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of those licenses that are offered, plus all the email backbone functionalities already set up. You don't have to bother with that. Plus, you get tremendous support from the WP-Tonic team. So it is a fantastic solution. So go over and see what we got to offer. We love you to host your website on WP-Tonic. Plus, I want to point out, why don't you join us at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Friday for this podcast? Because after the podcast, we will continue the conversation. If you've got any questions, you can ask them live, and our after hours session, we will answer your Pacific questions. So join us at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time live on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel, and you'll be able to ask your questions to us after the podcast part of the live show. That's fantastic, isn't it? So let's go over to Divi. So Divi, one of the started as a library of themes, basically, of third-party themes people could purchase. The actual company is called Alameda Themes. If you you put Divi in and then you find it in search, click it, you'll be taken to the Elegant Themes / Divi page. That's why, because it started out off as a library of themes. It was one of the first commercial theme marketplaces. It started at the same time as another well-known marketplace, Studio Press, started. Studio Press had its own framework and it had its own peculiarities about building a website. So it was more popular with developers. One of the strengths of Elegant was that it was more native and they provided, like I say, ever-increasing library of themes. Then they brought out their own visual page builder, which is Divi. And they got tremendous success with it. And it's got a very large community. I think one of its strengths is it's got an enormous library of themes. So I think they understand either a DIY power user or a implementer graphic designer that's very visual in loves graphics. They go in and they can choose a theme if they've got a client or they've got some graphical background themselves, and they can just choose a theme, modify it, and be up and running pretty quickly with Divi. And before I go on, what do you think? What's your own spin about what I've just said, Kurt?
My spin is really focusing on the demographic that uses Divi. To your point, it's a really nice aesthetic user interface and all that. And I find that the people that I work with that use Divi are generally the very artistic, very emotional. Their products generally have a great design sense about them. Whereas I find people in other page builder markets are more like functionality, right? I got to pound this thing out and I got it to get it do X, Y, and Z. So I find that people in Divi are more concerned with what it looks like rather than the function. That's a very broad stroke. I don't want to upset people or get a lot of email, but that's how I see it.
I think you're right. It's just they're just kind of buckets, but it spreads around. But in general, I would agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the clients that I have that are on Divi right now. Both of those that I'm working with currently at the agency are very well, like minimalistic but high level of design implementation. They're done very well. I mean, it's almost like looking at a website from Apple. They're just really well designed and well placed, good communicating sites.
Yeah, and I think the founder of Divi and the team at Divi, they're all very nice people. I've met them at various WordPress meetups, and they really understand their user base, and they've got a very large community, and they've been established in the WordPress space for many years. So they're a very legitimate company. And I think, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, if I could help you kind of pound that one home, I did a quick search, and Google says there's almost 4 million websites on Divi. That's sizable.
I didn't know. I thought it was around 700,000, but I take your word for it. Right. I knew it was large. I didn't know it was like, it's probably the second largest compared to, probably Elementor is the largest, but if you're correct, they're probably the second largest user base in WordPress, Divi, aren't they?
Well, it was a quick Google search, right? Yeah. But when I was talking to the folks at Elementor at WordCamp in US, they were saying that they're on 15 million sites. So you've got 15 million with Elementor, and you've got almost 4 million with Divi. That's a sizable number of websites proportionally, with the WordPress space. So kudos to them.
It's just mind-boggling about the people that are using WordPress. That's why you want to use WordPress for your membership website, folks, because almost half the internet is for various websites. But that's why you want to strongly consider using WordPress for your membership community website. There's a reason why all these people are using it, folks. Let's go on to pricing. I think this is the other attraction. 18. You can buy a one site license, like I think for, or it might be multiple, but it's multiple sites, but it's just yearly for $89, and then they offer this lifetime deal for $249, $250, folks. One-time payment, unlimited websites. This is why people buy into this, because if they are kind of not only building their own website but help other people with their websites, they're a graphic designer in their hometown, and they're helping with people, individuals, small businesses, and also they've got their own membership site or not, and they're building multiple sites for smaller businesses, for entrepreneurs, for various business types, and they've got access to this library of 1,000 templates, and they can buy it for $250. That is why there's over 6 million websites running this, in my opinion. What do you think?
The pricing blows me away, Jonathan. We're going to talk about pros and cons later, and there are some cons, but I got to think to myself, can I absorb those? Can I absorb those shortcomings and have lifetime access for unlimited websites for $250? I already said, what do I pay for Elementor, right? So when you start weighing what that cost benefit is, Divi's coming out ahead. It's looking pretty strong in the pricing.
Well, I've got a grandfather. We've got a special account at WP-Tonic, but Elementor, for 1,000 websites, it's $399 a year, which is still excellent value. It is, compared to SaaS solution, it's still amazing value for money. But for $250, one-off payment, lifetime, it just blows you away how Divi can do that, really, isn't it? And offer any kind of reasonable. And I think their support is pretty good, isn't it?
Well, that takes us back to what I mentioned earlier about how I make decisions on product for clients. It's not just the support from Divi, but their community is so strong, and there are so many channels to get help from generous people that will guide you along. Their community is super strong and super generous, so it makes it attractive.
And I think another thing they've got a marketplace as well, which offers third-party themes and add-on plugins from third-party people that are building more functionality. They've got this marketplace that you can access, and you can buy it, and they've got a whole ecosystem of add-on functionality for other additional themes that Elementor don't provide. So they've got that whole thing, which Kadence doesn't have, does it? Kadence doesn't. There are some people building third-party themes, and like I say, WP-Tonic, we're going to be building a whole library of themes that's going to be part of our hosting package. But they've got that as well, which Kadence and Astra haven't got that with their Spectra.
Yeah, Spectra.
They don't have that. So that's another thing that Divi has, that marketplace, which is also attractive, and they run it. They're reasonably fussy about who can go into it, so you get some reassurance there that if it was previously run by people that were totally separate to Divi, so you didn't know what they were accepting or not. So you got that reassurance. So let's go through the Divi pros. Like I say, a library of over 2,000 different elements, from templates to sections, whatever. I think this is what attracts and linked to that $250 lifetime deal. I think, and then you got the front end editor, because that's really attractive to people. That front end editing environment. Would you agree with that?
I have not personally used the front end editor. I've always dove into
Yeah.
the back, so I'm not in a position that I know customers love it.
They love
Customers love it,
Love it.
but I've never used it.
Yeah, this has been because people like you and me, I don't do much. I only update and do stuff on the WP-Tonic, and I've got one other business website that I do the same, but I'm not actively developing at the present, nor probably will I be. But I know most of us that are power implementers, freelancers, developers, we do a lot of the stuff in the back end. But I know a lot of the customers, they love front end editing because they're just going in and it just saves them time and they just want to update something quickly. So they loved, and it was always the strength of Divi that they had that, because a lot of the other solutions do not offer that, do they?
No.
Another great strength is their documentation and community support. They do have a load of documentation, do they not?
Yeah, and the community. I keep stressing community, but to me, so many customers are, and I'm talking about end users and private businesses, they're so reluctant to research and go through documentation for some reason. Like they want that easy button. They want to be able to chat somebody or jump into a Facebook group and get an answer. And the community in Divi is really strong in that way.
Right. Well, we covered price. Let's go to the cons.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Number one, what I call short code spaghetti. If you, when I was actively working with clients and I was an active developer, it didn't only affect Divi, it affected a lot of themes. You buy a theme and it had a fantastic look to it, and then it was all based on short codes. So if you wanted to change anything for the client or that, you had to be you had to go into PHP and basically produce scripts that it wasn't drag and drop at all. And Divi is affected by a lot of what I call short code spaghetti. You can log into a website that's been built on Divi, and they want change, and you look at it, and there's short codes everywhere. What was your reaction to what I've just said?
I'll reiterate the positive side of that, and that is most of my clients using Divi have very simple, minimalistic, high art quality, good communication websites. But when you take something that's like a pre-built template, to your point with the different blocks and integrations, it can be messy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I prefer the cleaner stuff that people can do with Divi.
Yeah. I call it, if you're a developer or a power implementer and you've been doing it, you know what I'm saying when I say short code spaghetti. This is going to be a bit controversial, but obviously also Divi's in flux, because Divi, the team at the founder and team, they're moving the Divi to something that directly competes with Kadence. It's going to be offering a solution on top of Gutenberg. They're building it out. They're in testing. I think they're offering it to people to select through. I don't think it's on the market now in general. I might be wrong there, but they're moving to a very similar solution to what Kadence, a kind of framework on based on the technology of Gutenberg. In my opinion, the actual code quality and that also is not the best. I'm sorry. I'm really digging a hole here. I'm going to get some heat mail here, but that's my opinion. What's your reaction to what I've just said?
Well, I might get a bigger reaction than you on this one, Jonathan. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's Divi itself or if it's the artistic nature of clients that don't focus on keeping up on the updates and the maintenance of a website. But every time I come into a pre-existing Divi environment to do any kind of work or modification, there is an obstacle to getting it done. There is something wrong with the site, something that's not updated. Just yesterday, I signed into a client's website and all of the edit screens were white. You couldn't add a course, you couldn't add a lesson, you couldn't add a post, you couldn't edit a page. The front of the site looked fine and beautiful, but you couldn't make any changes in the back of the website. And after we did all of the, best practices to diagnose the problem, it ended up being an out-of-date Divi installation. This happens, not this particular thing, but every Divi client that I try to assist for something simple ends up with some obstacle in maintenance or updating or something along that line. And so it's almost like there's certain hosts, and people in the business know, there's certain hosts when the client says, oh, my site's hosted on such and such, you almost want to just factor in a surcharge on that because there's going to be a problem. It's that way.
Well, I think you surmised this is my own take on it, folks. Take it as it is. It's a combination of user base because it attracts graphically power type individuals that like design, want a good looking website, but not that particularly technical. Then it's a combination of buying really cheap hosting as well. So, and I think because I still stand by the actual quality of the code of the Divi editor and the code behind the website. To me, it's not terrible, but it's not fantastic either. I actually think the code quality that what Kadence produces is of a better quality, in my opinion. But I think Divi know that, and that's why they're moving to a framework on top of Gutenberg themselves. So I think take that as you would, folks. But it's a combination of user base with poor quality hosting, and also some of the questions around the code, the fundamental code quality of Divi. This also applies when Divi was a theme library. You could buy a license and you would have access to 300 themes, and it was fabulous quality because they had this selection. Because in the older days, if you had to go and buy themes from certain marketplaces that I will not mention, or go to websites and buy themes directly from the theme developer designer, it could get quite expensive quite quickly. So you had a selection of 200, 300 themes from them, and you could buy one of their great deals. This is before Divi. But the truth, folks, was some of those themes were developed by Elegant Themes, but a lot of them weren't. They were developed by third parties, and they put an admin section on all the themes. So you had coherent when you wanted to change certain elements. So the third party developer had to develop the site so it would work with this admin area. But the quality was varied. Shall we put it there? And I had the joy of trying to sort out some of these wretched. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to get into trouble. But it wasn't a great experience, folks. I don't know if they're all now internal, because I've never been part of the Divi community. I admire the founder and admire the team for what they've managed to build. And I know how hard that must have been. So I admire them. But I think some of the quality in that there's third-party theme. It's just that I think there can be problems there. And that I'm going to jump to the next one, Kurt, without asking you to comment on that, because it's linked to, and this is linked to everything you just said. it has got a bit of a reputation of poor performance. Would you agree with that?
It's heavy. It seems to slow things down, but other page builders do that as well.
Yeah.
So you know, you got to just weigh that out. And
Well, yeah.
good hosting makes up for a lot of that. If you're on a poor performance host, you know, good hosting can overcome a lot of code, right? And we know that. So if you're on a decent host and you want to use premium tools, you can still do that and still have a decent performing website. And your content's going to drive consumption. So, you know, once again, you get back to, if your content is good quality, you know, people can deal with a millisecond here or there.
Yeah. And the last thing is, I think you've got the front end editing, which people love, but the actual back end building from scratch interface options, I think it has this kind of block thing, and you drag and you've got to formulate without showing you visually, folks. Does take me, I find it a bit confusing myself. I think I don't particularly like it compared to Animator or Kadence. I just don't. What's your reaction to that?
I forget the technical name that they use to call it. So if a viewer wants to put that comment in after the show, that'd be great. But I do like that there's two views in the edit screen. There's the view that shows, like, I'm adding graphics, I'm adding a video, I'm adding text, but then when you get lost in your own design, like when things start to mesh together and get kind of confusing, you can go to that other view, which is, I think, what you just described, which is just like the rows with the labels of the rows. And again, I know they have a name for it. It's just, I'm blanking on it.
Yeah,
right
I've blanked as well.
So I like having that option. It's almost like the navigator that you can use in Elementor, right? But it's full screen.
Yeah.
So it's full screen and it gives you a really good view of what's there. But, you know, to Cadence's defense in that one, they have the navigator, you know, elements menu in that as well. So all these block-based page builders have something like that. But I do like the way that Divi does theirs. I like that.
So there you go, folks. I've got no problem with it because it's personal taste. It's personal. I know a couple of people that agree with me. They really don't like it, but Kurt does. But I'm not. It doesn't bug me at all because it's all about personal taste, and you know, you want to try all these out anyway, folks. You don't want to take everything I say as gospel because I'm biased and also I've got a certain opinion, but it's based on my honest opinion. That's all I can give you, folks. So let's go to the conclusion section. Where to be fair, I've never been a great lover of the founder and the team at Divi, but I've never been a great. I think I've had some experience with with spaghetti short codes. I've had some experience, but this was donkeys years ago. We're talking about 8-9 years ago, and I had some unpleasant experiences with dealing with third-party Divi themes and clients, and it kind of soured me from the whole thing. And I've never been part of the Divi world, so I'm a little bit biased about it. So, but I've just been really impressed with what Ben, the lead developer and founder of Kadence WP, has done with Kadence. I've just been really, and I'm a bit of a Kadence love boy now. But I always like Elementor. I've never been part of that. I think the problem with Elementor, which they're sorting out right now to some extent, was it suffered from another nickname, Divitis. Like if you used to hand coding, which I used to do, and your CSS, and you look at the code at Divi, and it was just monstrous. But it wasn't worth cleaning. You just needed good hosting to overcome. But it was monstrous, the coding that it churned out. It was just crack code, really. But on the other hand, that comes from somebody that used to do some hand coding, and most people, which is a pain, yeah, I'm waffling now. What do you reckon, Kurt?
Boils down to use case for me. It really does, Jonathan. I think when I think about our clients and I think about the single user, the end user, I really think Kadence brings a lot to the table, and you can do a lot for free. Because our audience, not everybody's on WP-Tonic getting the pro version from you, right? So if we're realistic and we go, what can someone build on a budget? What can someone get started with? Kadence wins hands down. I mean, it's faster, it's easier to use. There's so many pluses, and if you build out everything that you want for free, but you want just a little bit more, you can upgrade to pro, and it's not like you have to trash the site and start over. You just add those features and continue to build in a seamless way. Divi to me is a little harder to use. You have expense going into that platform. I mean, it's got a free trial, obviously, but there's expense associated with it. So what I do like about Divi, again, from the consumer that's the more artistic or the more driven visually person, their library and their community is so strong, Jonathan, that's it's going to be really hard for any other provider, Elementor included, to keep up with that flow of client.
I think that's a fantastic summary. I think you're totally spot on. Thanks for that, Kurt. So we're going to wrap it up now. So, Kurt, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and samples more of your knowledge? And I want to point out, Kurt's got many years of working with large companies around building out learning management systems. He's got enormous knowledge about training and membership, and combine it with WordPress. So if you're looking for consultation, Kurt is the person to go to. So, Kurt, how can people find out more about you and what you got to offer?
Well, Mañana No Mas is the agency. So if you go to mañananomas.com, you can find me there. But I'm also super active on LinkedIn. I think the community on LinkedIn is super strong. And I'm the only Kurt Von on in there, so it makes it easy to find me.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that if you're looking, join us at around 8:30 Pacific Standard Time every Friday. We talk about everything membership. The great thing in joining us live is that we do our after-hour session, that if you've got any questions about your membership site, about WordPress or marketing or anything that you want to ask, we will answer your questions live after the podcast part of the show. Like I say, we do this at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. To go and ask your question, the easiest way is to go to the WP-Tonic YouTube channel and go to the live tab, and you'll be able to subscribe so it sends you an update 10 minutes before the show goes live, and then you can join us and ask your questions afterwards. So please do that. We will be back next week with my new full-time co-host. I'm looking forward to that. It should be fun. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.